Voila. That's 30 seconds. But, unless there's a slow lag somewhere, mine's not showing up live yet.
What you looking directly on? It says
Well,
live. I see live on
I
the screen.
know on Facebook it hasn't shown it to be live yet, so I'm curious to see if it is up live actually on Facebook. But my stuff could be slow too. I don't know. But nonetheless, it does say live, so that means we are up. So what's up?
Yeah, no, I see it. I see it on mine.
Is
It's
it?
live. Yeah.
Okay. Well, then that's all that matters. Happy Tuesday, y'all. Happy Tuesday. Happy Tuesday. What's today? June 2nd. 3rd. June 3rd. Man, can you literally believe it's already like halfway through the year already?
That's the way it always works.
It certainly seems like we said that at the end of the year last year, in the middle of the year last year, in the beginning of the year last year. Oh, man. Time is a funny thing. I'm still not showing up live, but that's okay. But anyways.
No, I see it. It's live.
We were talking about only going for an hour tonight, so we will see how that actually pans out. I would love if the conversation was just so damn fire that we just couldn't help ourselves but go longer. But who knows where we'll go. But I'm down for some pick a post. So that's what we're doing tonight, pick a post. So for those of y'all who are not familiar with what pick a post is, it's literally just going to the Facebook group page and finding a post of any sort from any duration of time on the page. It doesn't have to be new. It can be old. But pick a post. You pick a post and we're going to talk about it. A lot of them are fun to engage in the comment section with those that are participating in the conversation on the Facebook page. But oftentimes they're, such thought intriguing or, provocative posts that you like, I want to talk about this. So if any of those have done that to you, go pick that post and come here and let's talk about it. So that's what pick a post is. So join us. The StreamYard link to join the conversation live is posted on the Facebook Freethinkers group page. It's pinned at the top, so you can just click on the link. It'll bring you right into the conversation. Otherwise, on the Freethinkers Worldwide YouTube channel, we've got the live conversation over there. You can jump in over there, and those comments, of course, we show up here, and we try to engage with everybody who participates in the conversation in the live chat as well. But join us. Come jump in and let's talk about something that's on the post or something that you I don't know, maybe something you want to talk about. But it's kind of open. If you just don't have a post but have something you want to talk about. But there are so many posts to go choose from. I promise you there's great conversation over there. So pick a post. Did you get a chance to grab a couple?
No. I made the assumption. I mean, after about two of them between, if you have two of them, then that probably take an hour right there. But I'm still gonna look too.
I wondered how far you would have even have gotten. I wondered how far you made it for the day.
Yeah, no, I didn't make it far.
That's funny.
For it's not letting me share this. That's the weird part. Even when I make it public, it's still not letting me share. That's the part
on Facebook.
Yes.
Mine is still not even. My Facebook has just been doing horribly weird things all day, actually.
All right, it opened up now.
I don't think mine still shows as live, but yeah, now it does. Okay, there it goes. Pick a post, pick a post, pick a post. We lost Denise. Did she never come back?
Let me see. Yeah, she'll be back.
She's on a social media fast. She does those every once in a blue moon.
I was thinking about doing that actually. Yeah, I was thinking about doing
thought about it too. Go ahead.
I'm not on there that much, so it's like whatever. But still, it's one of those things where I want to disconnect. Now, let me give a tidbit that I got a minor revelation on. Even if you are not ready to disconnect from social media, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, etc., what you can do, this is what I encourage people to do: turn your notifications off.
Oh, for sure.
So even if you partake, you make sure that you're partaking at the time that you choose versus social. Hey, look at me.
Right now.
Literally with the notifications going, hey. You don't need someone trying to grab you, take your attention and pull from you all the time. You pick and choose whenever you want to. And even with people that I direct message or go through Messenger, a lot of times, last couple of weeks, maybe last week and a half, I miss a lot of people's messages because I just turned off all my notifications off.
Okay.
So when I get to it, when I decide I want to look at Facebook or I want to look at Messenger to see who sent me, then it's on my terms, and it's not some algorithm dictating how much time they want to pull from you. That's a tip. Even if you ain't ready to get rid of social media or do away with it or do it fast, just turn your notifications off.
I had a friend, man, this woman, this lady, I knew this lady, and she, can you hear that?
Oh yeah, I muted. I don't know.
Okay. I wasn't sure if it was gonna come back if I started talking or not. So I knew this chick, and she literally had her notifications on Audible and vibrate for literally everything a phone could send you a notification, a push notification for. Text message,
45
email.
Seconds, something's going off.
Oh my God, I traveled with her once, and I was like, you can't be fucking serious. And not only that, when she would type, she had the clicker sound on. So you could hear it all the time. And I just thought to myself, I was like, that's so much. Like, did you watch that that documentary? What is it called? It's basically explained that it basically explained what you just talked about. How if your phone realizes that you've been away from it for too long, it will send you a notification to get your attention from across the room to come and pick it up and to engage in whatever algorithm sponsored promoted ad or whatever it heard you talking about or whatever commercial was on your television. So I when I saw that, it just confirmed, the hate relationship that I have for these electronics, right, that we have in our life.
It's love-hate relationship.
So I agree today that I feel like detoxes are actually totally necessary. I think for actual manageability, right? Like I think that people do need to detox, for real, not just like, I'm gonna do a little bit of cocaine on the weekends, just not on the weekdays, but like, no, all the 7 days, like all the days, pure detox, like not engaging, because that's when you really start to see how chemically
dependent,
psychologically dependent, like you've become on this thing. And that in itself, for most free thinkers, at the very least, is something that should make you sit back and crack your own mind wide open and delve into, because how much of this are we going to subscribe to, and how much of this, where are we going to put controls into place? Is it too late to put controls into place? Denise, we were talking about just the social media detox.
Oh, y'all got one right now, right? For a month?
Yeah, that's what I was talking about, how you were on a social media detox. We were talking about, that's what we were literally just talking about. Yep.
Yeah, I have to do these because I was realizing like I said, I don't know if y'all watched the whole thing, but I was like, I was using social media like a journal. So I was like, I would have a thought or idea, and then I would post it. And then a couple of days later, I would be like, girl, you need to stop. Like, I'm like, this is not my journal. This doesn't need to be my journal. And if I'm going to be saying something publicly, I need to know that that's how I actually feel, not some half-hearted idea that I just threw out there because I'm upset and I'm emotionally unstable right now. Let me go stabilize myself emotionally, think about the things that I want to actually say, and then put that out there. Like all these half-hearted ideas, like even like the concept of like writing a book, right? When the author writes a book, they have to take the time to do the research, think things completely through, and put together a well-rounded idea. But with social media, you can just have a quick thought and just share it. And it's just like, but did you really take time with this? And so I realized I was doing that. And then I felt like I'm in the midst of a rebirth. Like there's some changes I want to make. And I want those changes to be things that I decided, not some like low key social programming that's been happening to me. Like I want to take time off, think about how I feel and who I want to be without constantly being inundated with all these other thoughts and ideas and communication. I am tired of talking to people. It's like DMs, comments, my own, that's just like social media, right? Then think about social media on all social media platforms. Then think about your phone. Then think about your email. It's like, do we ever get a second to not be bothered? Are we supposed to be in communication with people this much on this level?
No.
You have to take that. So you got to take those seconds.
Mm-hmm.
You got to take those minutes. If you don't, it's one of those things. It's almost like in biblically, it talked about the parable of the talents, and one person that had the 5 talents had 10, and the other one whatever they doubled their talents, and the other one just hid it away. And then the master was like, "I'm taking that talent away from you, the one that you got." But if you don't consciously make a decision how to live your life, then you open up the door for others to live your life for you. Basically, that's what I got from it.
Yeah. And you know what else I realized too on a social media break? Every time.
And on top of that, and the other part of that parable, no choice is not a choice. No choice is still a choice. If you don't make a choice, then you still
make a choice.
You make the choice for others to make choices for you.
That's being neutral.
Agree.
That's being neutral.
Something else I noticed when I take social media breaks, I am more inclined to go out into the world and do things.
Oh yeah.
Every time I take a social media break, because social media makes me think I'm engaging and doing more than I actually am. No, actually I'm not. I'm in my house on my phone, laying down doing this. But when I take the breaks, I'm like, let me go out. Let me socialize for real. You know? And so I'm even noticing now I'm way more social. And I'm like, I got to figure out some kind of in between, because I'm not even sure. Like, I know I have to kind of come back because career stuff, I guess, but I'm kind of like, I got to figure out some sort of medium. Now, I might just pick a couple of days out the week to do it, and then the other days I just won't. Something has to be changed.
That could be a niche too, where you could be the artist that don't operate on social media if you ever decided to do that. If you're gonna catch me, then you got to catch me raw. You ain't gonna find a whole bunch of that has its own space and audience as well.
It does, but trying to build an audience around, like, so the culture right now is social media. So people find musicians a lot through social media. Now, there was a point in time where I was wheat pasting, and I'm gonna go back to doing that this summer because it's warm, where wheat pasting is basically where you take flyers and you like stick them, but you use like this substance and you like stick them on like things like that. And I was doing that. And people would contact me and be like, I saw this thing. I saw it, So like there is a way around it.
Connection, yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Nikki, what's your first post?
My first post. Okay.
No. If you had a thought, then go ahead. You can.
No, I just listening to Denise talk about going outside, right? And I almost feel like
how much of an addict you are.
Well, I definitely am not in denial at all. Like I'm very much not. I'm not in denial, but I also know.
I'm gonna tell you something in a second. Go ahead.
I also know that I'm very good about controlling my addictions. Like I feel as though if it's possible, I've done a very good job of controlling my addictions, knowing that there have to be parameters in place so that you do have to get shit done. Like shit cannot be impaired and affected by my amount of time that I spend, on social media. I'm actually hopefully taking on a social media gig where I control somebody else's social media, right, for their business platform. And I'm super looking forward to doing that because I mean, I do good at shit like that, right? So like, why not turn it into money? So on one hand, I'm like listening to Denise talk about social media detox, knowing how critically important it is to fucking do this. But it takes me back to last week's conversation that we had in person about COVID PTSD. And I feel like hearing Denise talk about going outside, like those of us who obviously had a normal life before COVID and then have had so many things change since COVID, just the foundation of relationships stopping for like, 12 months, 18 months, 15 months, 24 months for some people, like putting social media down and going back and having in-person relationships and having like feet on the ground, experiences instead of everything, like you said, being connected through social media, making me think that I'm doing things, engaging with people, but it's like, it's a Black Mirror episode.
Oh yeah, we got to do that real soon. We're gonna do some Black Mirror
The
episodes.
new season is great so far. I've been very happy.
Yes,
I've been very happy. I'm like, oh wow, this is current under his eyes.
I think people forget the feeling you get when you make direct in-person connections or conversations.
Yeah.
The connection that you'll make on social media is nothing like an in-person conversation. Even when what I do life insurance and I deal with businesses. A lot of these people, most of the time, I still deal with rejection. A lot of these people don't want to talk to me. But when you make connections and you get to know something about somebody and you actually have, 20 minutes where you're actually sharing and getting to know a person, that sticks with you in ways that social media connections can never replace that.
Right.
And you think it can, but when you actually have real connection, that's one of the reasons why I think we have such a almost borderline a cult following when we meet in person. Like the majority of the people who meet in person don't come online. And I heard some people like, yeah, online ain't my thing, but I show up to the next in-person meeting because it's a different connection.
Yes.
That's so good.
Yeah.
That's good right there. You know what else too? Like, I know some people tell me all the time that like my friends that do well on social media, they'll be like, your personality just doesn't show on your social media. Like you seem so like together and kind of like rigid on your social media. And I'm just like, yeah, I feel you. Cause like you don't get the full scope. Freethinkers is different, right? Because we're having conversation. But outside of Freethinkers, if you just go look on my pages, it's very like I have a certain aesthetic I like to use. There's certain ways I like to. Not maybe rigid is a harsher word, but it's very like not. If you know me in person and you saw my social media, you wouldn't guess that my personality is the way it is. And so, but my thing is like, what am I supposed to do? Exaggerate what I am for social media so it reads how my in-person personality reads? Because I can't do that. Like, I think my in-person personality reads that way because of the interaction I'm having with another human being.
Right.
And that's why.
Question.
Right.
That would be a good topic. The digital you versus the actual you.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, let me get my notebook. Hold on. Where my notebook?
That's good.
How would people perceive, like, what's the differences in how people perceive you from them experiencing you digitally versus in person?
Even like dating, I feel like I'll tell dudes, like even like the career professional me, I'll be like, you're not dating Imani. You're not dating her. Get that out your head. And furthermore, you don't want to date her because she doesn't care about you. Like she'll get rid of you like that. Denise, on the other hand, is the one you're dating.
I don't even know Imani. See, I don't even know Imani.
Right.
No, that other girl, she doesn't care. She doesn't care about relationships. She doesn't care about anything. She cares about one thing. Like you're not dating her. Like that's just a very like curated, like business-minded, business-focused individual that Denise is not. Denise is like, oh, I want to spend time with my friends and family. Like, I want to dig deeper. Like, it's just like a different experience. So even having to explain that to someone who is absorbing that part of you, almost, I feel like the next time I start dating again, I don't want them to know me on social media. I don't want to know them on social media either. I don't. Live your life separately. We don't need to engage all day. I can't. Please. It's too much.
You know what? What's funny? Because yeah. So the people that I'm close to, I really don't interact with them on social media at all. My closest friends, I have rare to look. Even my best friend, I almost never look at his social media page or respond or interact with him through social media. Nor do I my wife, nor do I my best friends. Like any people I'm close to, the only people I will interact with social media wise are people that we actually have a pretty far distance apart from. You know, if they live in Illinois across the country, then there may be some. But outside of that, yeah, you get calls, texts. We on group threads. It's more. I'm not doing the digital happy birthdays in the comment section. You getting a call from me like, hey, what's up? Yeah. So yeah, it's different.
Yeah, and you know what else too that I noticed, like rekindling my relationship with my best friend, because and it's not that we fell off because something bad happened or anything. It was just life and distance and all of this stuff, right? And then I was like, oh, wait a minute. Like, I actually have to be intentional about my relationships. Like, I have to say, oh, I got to make sure I'm hitting you up. And then you do, because social media makes you think you know that your friend is okay, you know, and that everything's great. And then you're like,
it's easier because they just fall across your timeline, or they
fall across. Like, oh, they're fine.
You have to make a concerted effort to reach out to someone.
Right. And even with family, you'll notice like if I'm away, there's certain information I don't get. And then I got to come home and I'm like, oh, you know, so it's just like having to be so intentional about not just calling, but like actually checking in. Like, how are you? What's going on with you? Is everything okay with you? A few pictures, a few videos, and a few posts do not actually show what is actually going on in a person's life. This is quite literally virtual reality. It's a matrix. It is not true to what is actually happening in a person's life. It is what they feel like posting for whatever reason, whether it's just the highlights or the lowlights or the whatever. It's just not a full scope of a person's experience. And that's why I'm like, I got to get off this thing. Hey, you gotta have to take my number. I'm not going to be on social media for a month. And if the conversation isn't there for us to do the number thing, then we ain't make that connection like that. Back in the days, if you met somebody and you really connected, you exchange that number. You know, if it's a half-hearted connection, then you do the social media thing. Then you have all these half-hearted connections.
And I've done that before too. Like, oh, you know, hello, okay, and then it's like, oh, here's my Instagram, and then it's like, I don't contact that person after that anymore. I don't really reach out to them. It's somebody in the number of other contacts that I have, and it's not you know what's funny is me and my sister, we talk all the time. But like I said, I don't interact through social media. So sometimes, like if she go on a trip or she goes somewhere, I was like, oh yeah, you gotta send me some pictures. She was like, oh yeah, I posted them on Facebook. I'm like, I don't look at your Facebook page. Send them to me. Directly. Like, even though that's me being spoiled, but it's like, yeah, I'm not following your social media page. I follow you in real life.
That's another thing on social media breaks. Like if there's something I want to share, instead of sharing it with the masses and seeing who might be interested in the thing, I just actually send it to the person who I think would be interested in it. It's more of a direct connection versus like, let me just throw it out there too. Like, no, this my best friend would think this is funny. I'm gonna send it to her. Like, you know what I mean?
Okay. What's your first topic, Nikki?
Let's see. Let me go to I don't know why this just, I don't know, kind of fucking piggybacks off of Denise's conversation a little bit. The video that I sent you guys earlier, huh?
I said, look at God.
Won't he do it? The video that I said earlier.
Gonna teach Nikki this church lingo. Won't he do it? Right on time, right on time.
No, just look at it every time, all the time. So kind of piggybacking on Denise's just whole literal purpose for talking about the importance of in-person relationships. Jules had posted this on the Facebook page in the last week or so. And I just saw it today. I think I saw it be posted, but I didn't watch it until today. And I was like, I don't know why it struck me as just like so sad to watch this, because I think about all of the arguments that happen on the internet with people. And I'm like, wow. So I have a video that I uploaded. I'll share it real quick. It's just like maybe 10, 12 seconds. I'm going to play it really quickly. So hold on. Let's see if this works. There's no sound to it, I don't believe. It just says, these are the people that you argue with on the internet. And so it's literally just showing you.
Right. Yeah.
Hundreds, thousands, hundreds of thousands, tens of thousands. I don't know. Different.
And you know what? I'm so wired. I'm so wired to notice it. Like, that's one of the reasons why I don't have to worry about being on social media, because it kind of makes me sick or gets on my nerve when I see a lot of those posts. And I have an eye to see the concerted effort. It was something that it was live that they said something, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's a troll.
There's been like times that somebody has broke in the stream conversation
all that time, because I see it. And not only, it's not just that I see it. It's, if I didn't love what I do and I didn't love Freethinkers, I would be tempted to partake in it, because I see how easy it is to. Because I'm good at being an instigator. I'm good at manipulating and instigating people to feel one way or another. I'm very good at that. So if I wanted to do that, then I know how to say the right words that can trigger a person to respond. And that's really what they do. They're getting some type of response. They want to get a like, a love, a hate, or a comment. And all that does is fuels activity. And
hey, Gina. I think that's her name.
Oh yeah, Gina. Oh yeah. She's one of our in-person people.
She's one of our in-person newbies. Hey, lady.
Yeah.
She heard y'all saying shit that nobody talks.
Well, yeah, just when I see it, I notice it, and it's a turn off to me. And by the second video that I see where somebody's trying to get me to, number one, I'm not even gonna respond to it. I used to respond being like, "Oh, they're troll," but even every comment that you give, no matter what it is, you're responding to it and you're feeding into what they want you to do. So by the second one, I'm not responding, and I just cut it off. Like, I go back to chess, online chess, and I play a chess game, because I'm so done with just the manipulation. And what really bothers me the most is not that they're doing it. Well, what bothers me the most.
That's the part that bothers me. That's the part that bothers me. But go ahead.
No, if you ever look at the comment thread, and these people think that it's real, and they're so invested in someone's acting job. Oh my God, I can't believe that she would do that to him. That's a shame. Somebody should call the cops. It's fake. Oh my God, I can't believe. And there's people arguing and then having dissension in the comment thread with each other off of something that's not even real.
They believe it to be real, though. That's the whole thing. They believe it to be real, and in all actuality, you got a goddamn warehouse full of computers that's just doing this, and you think it's just real, and you think it's just real.
I have a question. If you all had to guess the purpose of the arguing bots, or the purpose of the type of topics that get people to argue, what? Okay. Yeah. What kind of control? Like, what do you think the play is in terms of doing this?
It don't matter. Whatever the powers that be decide at any given point in time. They can control you politically. They can control you relationally. They can control you professionally in the work environment. They know the buttons to push, and they can control you when they desire to in any of those arenas.
I mean, if they control you, they control you. That's it. Simply put.
Right. And
If
they can pick how they want to control you at specific times.
And they're going to control you. They're going to control you all over the place. Right. Yep. So it's not just like one little spot. That one little spot starts to grow, and then it starts to grow, and then it starts to grow, and you become more dependent upon these things. And they literally have you changing your beliefs, changing your philosophies, changing, your positions that you stand on certain things. They have you hating things and people and stuff, and just they have absolute control. It's mind control without being necessarily mind control, but that's literally what it is. You are now
another angle.
You're now a fucking Tesla. You're automated driving. No fucking driver needed. You're just now controlled.
Another angle, though, when now you're dependent on attention and activity and likes, and the last picture that I posted had 142 likes, and this picture only got 78 likes. What's wrong? How come I'm not getting? So now I'm going to post something that's more flagrant in order to get the attention that I want, or I'm going to pay to make sure that I get a boost and I get more viewership to all of my I have all of these followers, but all of them are not getting to see my content. Let me boost this. Let me pay for this boost so that I can make sure that everybody's getting to see that. That's an addiction and a drug, and that's a control method that they have. Once they've gotten you to be addicted to that type of attention, now you're willing to go to the next step in order to get more of that attention, because now you got to feed the drug.
I agree. I think too, like you said, you might do something more salacious, or you're just spending more time trying to see why it's not working, or you're just going to post more because you're trying to get the next hit. I noticed that too, and I'm just like, this doesn't work. So a part of me taking like the social media breaks too is just being like, I don't even know that social media is really working for me in the way that I think it's supposed to be working for me. Maybe I'm not gonna act like it doesn't work at all. I'm not gonna act like it doesn't reach whatever audience is, but it has to be like a really top tier post for me to get the engagement that a post from 2017 would get off of some regular stuff. Like if you go back and look at old posts and your interactions on those posts with way less followers, I probably had 300 followers then, and would get more interactions with a regular post then versus now. You know what I mean? Where I have 3,000 followers. So it's definitely a mind game. And I think they do prey on, there's different versions of how they attack different people depending upon how you use social media. But definitely I think for content creators, they're like, oh, we're not going to boost this one, or we're going to boost this one. It's going to give you the dopamine hit, and the next one we're not.
And then they do that a lot. That's the truth. Right.
And then you're trying to figure out what to do. So it's like, oh, this person will buy a check, or this person will buy, boost this up and things like that. So it's not actually, social media is not really here for the content creator, even though we're kind of the reason why people are on the internet. But they're really there just to keep you on the internet at any cost, not to actually have people click the link in your bio or really actually engage outside of what is happening on that platform. And so it's so important to know that, but we just live in that so much. Even like I feel for the younger generation, because they don't know a world without it. So they don't know how to measure like life and how life can be and how grand life can be without it, and how good a feeling you can have without having it at all. So they're just kind of stuck in it, and they don't know when they're being programmed, because they've been being programmed their whole life. So they don't even know it. They have no idea what life is like without it. And so I see that in people, and I'm like, maybe one day they'll see that on their own, because you can't tell a person, hey, you do realize you're being programmed because you're saying this exact thing that I just saw you post. You do realize that this is not your own thought. You do, like, and so, but you just have to let people go through that process on their own, because then you're doing the programming, So it's like hard to figure out, how do you tell someone, like, pay attention? How do you tell a person, like, understand what's happening to you, like, when the culture is that?
And that's the toughest part, I think, about any change, right? Is that you have to not be in denial. And so many people are in denial because it's so built in a way that lets denial be so easy to subscribe to. Like, it really does. Like, I just posted something about two things that I just posted recently that kind of talk exactly about what you're talking about. Just the constant dopamine hits that we have access to with social media and with internet connection and with, digital connection. So, even though the video that I showed, and it's on the Facebook page, even though the video that I showed shows all these, devices that are potentially, computer-based robot, people that you're engaging with on social media, like, those are what are created to divide the masses, right? And to control the population and to control the thought processes and to control, the temperature of people. And it's so wickedly dangerous, right? But there's one, I realize nothing we can do about it. Like, that cat is already out of the bag. There is absolutely nothing we can do about it other than, just be conscientious of our personal use. But again, so much of our normal day-to-day is, think about every house, new apartment, new building has automated AC systems and automatic fobs for your door and like, there's no keys anymore, right? Like, people have codes and shit that they punch in, and cards that they, QR cards and shit that they use their phone to open their doors and their gates with. Like, there's so much data being collected. So you can't put it back. But I do think that it is mindful, especially like you just said, there's a generation of people coming up that have no idea what it was like to even be around without social media. So maybe this is, kind of like what people tried to tell us too, right? With the way that things were changing on them, right? Like, resist, right? But, like, I think it's very important for us to try to at least instill some of those values with children, to have some connection to, what worked for us for a really long time, until these fucking computers and these data minings and these AIs and these, all things related to, digital whatever, took over. And are taking over, because it's definitely taking over. That video bothered me so much. And I guess because I see so much arguing and so much hatred on social media, to think how many of those are fake, I'm like, wow. But to think of how many people are engaged in the emotions involved around those types of conversations, that could be with the robot. It's a robot. It's a freaking robot.
The videos that they plant, and they make it seem like it's a real video to evoke whatever kind of emotion. Like, my friend just had a baby, I think in like November, December or something. He's like 6 months old, and they do not give him any screen time unless he's on FaceTime with a family member. And this baby is so relaxed. They can put him down and sit him down and let him rock out and do his thing, and he's just chilling.
Like a baby's supposed to do. Mm-hmm. Like a baby's supposed to do. I just posted something. I think I put it on Facebook too. Freethinkers on Facebook too. If not, I'll make sure that I do. Of a person who was given a speech on current day television, cartoons, just the programming that most children are exposed to on television and digital media. And they talked about Cocomelon. And I've said for years, like, I'm so glad my kids were from the PBS Kids, Nick Jr., Disney Junior era, Cartoon Network era, where they had like regular ass cartoons, because these cartoons today, these children's shows today, are so fast paced. They're so colorful, and that shit bothers me. And so I happen to have seen this speech this week of this lady who was talking about how those are intentionally created fucking create addiction in your children, to create excitability and to change the chemicals in their brain to make them need to have to want like these kids. They show them taking away their tablets, like it changes their critical thinking skills because they're nonstop. There's nothing in the television show that draws it out like a Mr. Rogers or draws it out like, you know, like a Barney, like you know, I mean, there's so many examples of these shows where you see it in kids. Like you see that they're the kind of kids who watch fast-paced, colorful, bing, 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 nonstop type of shows, right? And it just, I mean, I don't know. So seeing that video that Jules posted just took me down a whole deep dive of how very dangerous the internet is, the control of the internet is. Like, it's one of the greatest tools that we've ever been exposed to, I think, but it's also so dangerous because of shit like that. It controls so many people.
So my cousin, she's a influencer, and it doesn't matter what platform she gets on, she just knows how to grow it because basically she knows how to follow trends. And so something that I've seen that I just cannot get into, and it grosses me out on a level that, no disrespect to anybody who does this, but when they speed up their talking, like they talk regular into the video, and when they edit it,
you gotta fit it in the shorts. If you're doing shorts, you gotta fit the whole conversation.
Like they do that, and I'm like, oh, this is insane. They even do it with adult content. I've seen how I'm starting to see it with some of these music behind the scenes kind of content, or like it may not even be behind the scenes, that might be a music video, but even how they're editing that stuff, it'll be a flash this, flash that, moves to that, goes to that, like it's just all over the place. And I'm like, and I'll watch it and I'll be like, is this a new aesthetic? And when you started talking about Coco Melon and how it's so excitable and things like that, versus like something like Dora the Explorer or Blue's Clues, where they're literally teaching kids critical thinking. I think that is so interesting. They're like, okay, where's this thing? Where do you think that thing is at? Is how they used to do things back in the day, where you had to kind of help them figure something out. And if they're doing all this excitability thing, you're right. When are they ever?
And like, to your point, think about the sound. All the fucking time, right? The sound and the light, the vibrant colors. Like, they talked about how the brain responds to certain types of colors differently. And I mean, all of these things are great and well and fun, but there's no way you can deny that, like, these little kids are fucking tablet dependent. And parents be pushing them on their kids all day long. And I'm not saying that my kids didn't watch TV, because they did, but they watched the shows that I'm not saying they weren't for programming too, because if it's television, it's fucking programming. It's all designed for programming, right? But I do believe there was an element, especially with PBS, and we never had cable. My kids were always PBS kids. Like, all of them will tell you about Arthur and all the shows. Like, so I believe that there are shows that were designed, Sesame Street, to educate and empower and teach some things into children that might not have had access to or exposure to. And typically, if you didn't have cable, you had PBS. Like, you could have watched some other heathen and shit on the other Cartoon Network channels, right? But like, that's what you had exposure to. And now every kid knows how to get onto YouTube. Like, every YouTube is just unfucking restricted for a lot of kids. Like, it is just too much. The brains are literally changing because of the programs that they're watching. That's why I'm so against VR for my kids. Like, and they know I'm so against that. Like, we just had this conversation at my son's graduation. He was like, he wants to buy a VR headset. And I'm like, I'm so fucking against that. He's like, I know. He's like, but I was like, I know, but let me tell you again why. And I'm grateful that he still respects my why, because he knows I'm not making this shit up, but he wants to so bad, right? And I'm just like, no, there has to be a line that you draw sometimes. And so for me, that's it with him. But go ahead. Sorry.
I was going to say, I know a couple of people who are substitute teachers right now, and the behavior of this new generation is insane. Like they just get to the point where they're like, just try to make them do their work. But they can like kind of get up, leave that class, go to another class. They literally talk all day long. And then all their work, a lot of them is on a computer.
Yep.
So there's never
Yep.
any like hand to paper kind of something that'll just focus you in a different kind of way. And
They
it
got
just makes me wonder, like, I wonder what does the workforce look like for these children when they grow up and become adults? Like, is it going to be a more lax environment since that's how they all kind of have been exposed to? Or like, what is it? How are things going to look with this new thing? Like, it could be good and then it could be bad. And I'm just wondering maybe what your take is on how they've been programmed, what they're used to versus what you think it's going to be when they hit the real world.
I feel like if they hit the real world and the real world consists of what is there today, real world, they might be all right, right? Because they're all operating from the same space. But if they don't,
right, it's still real to them because everybody's operating in that same space.
But if they meet a space, from somebody who comes from a time before, the internet was around or social media was around, they're gonna have a hard time. And I
don't think they will because of the.
What do you think they're going to be like in this workforce?
But those people are going to be in the minority, though.
I also think that it's growing a population of worker bees. I do. I really do. It's growing ants. It's growing a population of worker bees, and we need workers. You always need workers. We always got to have people to do work. Like, we all got to do work. But I think it's growing a population of people who are just programmed to just do. And whatever the programs you to do, you're just gonna fucking do. And you're not gonna ask questions, and you're not gonna, I do. Like, I think it's growing a complacent society, big time. A lot of people who are just like, I just don't care. What can I do about it?
Okay. That's funny. I feel like almost the opposite about these kids going into the workforce. Not that I don't think they have good answers about what to do about anything. I think we have completely let them focus on their feelings instead of results and action.
Yeah.
And so they won't work because they don't feel like it. They won't do things because it doesn't feel good. This doesn't feel the way I want it to feel. What are you going to do? I have no clue because nobody's ever taught me how to think through anything. I just know I don't like how this feels.
I'm with you on it. I agree.
And so they're not going to be worker bees, but I mean, they don't know how to even ask the right questions most of the time. But then they're not reliable a lot of times because they are so stuck in their feelings all the time.
Yeah.
And it's like, how are you going to operate in the world without, what do I do next? Like, I try to work on that with my kids now. They come home and say, so-and-so called me a name. And I don't say, how did that make you feel? That's the new age thing. I say, what did you do? So let's talk about what you did. And I can help guide you about what to do next time by you telling me the steps you took after this happened. What are we going to do with your feelings? We can talk about your feelings later. But now let's talk about what we do when somebody hits us. What do we do when somebody makes us feel bad? Now, how do we feel? What you going to do with a feeling? I'm sorry, I'm on a whole.
No, that's good, Ivory. Okay, so I was in church, y'all. I started going back to church. I was in church on Sunday, and they were talking about the 8 core feelings. And they were saying how your feelings help you navigate life if you can recognize what the need is, because your feelings help you understand, hey, there's a need here. I'm sad. There's probably a need for healing. You know what I mean? I'm hurt. There's like whatever. There's probably a need for X, Y, and Z. And so understanding recognizing the feeling, conveying what you feel and then knowing what you need based off how you feel, I feel like is where we messed up with the newer generation because we overcorrected. Because before us, it was like, ain't no feelings. You got to get it done. It don't matter. Stop crying. Are you bleeding? No. Okay. You know what I mean? Like that was the energy. And so now we're like, oh, let's talk about how we feel. But now it's like, all right, we've talked about how we felt. To your point, Ivory, what do we do now? And that is my concern with the younger generation is that they don't know what to do next beyond just feeling. And I do feel like they'll get on the workforce. And unless they have some sort of like new age job where you can take naps in the middle of the day and they got a gym there and they got this and that there, I don't know how what they're going to do because I do feel like a lot of it is, I don't feel like doing this. This doesn't feel good to me, so I'm not going to. But they don't actually have a plan for after they don't feel good, so they're not doing this job anymore. It's just like, okay, and then what? Stay at home? Your mom take care of you? What's the plan?
No, part of that is actually good. You just need you need to find a middle balance. You had people in our parents' generation who would work a job 30, 40 years and the job didn't give a damn about them, but they just being loyal for loyal sake. They were worker ants. And now you have this new generation where they're loyal to the money or they're loyal to what makes them feel good. And that's not all bad. It should serve you to some degree, but you got to there's a middle ground where you got to have some tough skin. You got to know how to work through some situations. But you do need to, don't be committed to, this is business. We're not going to be committed to a business that's not committed to you. You make sure that you're doing what's right for yourself and your career and your future. So as long as they find, so some of the things that we look at as bad is actually good. They just have to find the right balance and have a good, thick enough skin and enough tenacity to know when to stick something out, and when they already know when to move on, but you got to know when to stick something out too.
I have to do a random plug right now to Denise. Sorry, random plug. I let my daughter see me cry the other day. It's all because of you. You got on me the other day, and I was like, I need to do that. And then something was happening, and I was about to cry, and I was finna run. And I just turned around and let her see me. I thought about you, and I said, what would be the harm in letting her see that my feelings are just as hurt as hers? And so I let her see me cry for the first time. Thank you, Denise.
Thank you. Did she ask you, or it was understood? And so
we were both sad, so it was understood. But I was just going to be strong and let her cry. And then I was like, well, we both sad. Like, why not
cry together?
Cry too? I feel like crying, so I just.
How did that make you feel to be like, I'm not doing this alone. I'm going to do this with her?
It was uncomfortable.
Yeah.
For moments, for us to both wipe each other's tears, but it was good. I think it was actually really good for us because she was really sick. You know, she gets really, really sick sometimes, and she had started crying because she said, "Now you're gonna make me cry." She was like, "Mommy, I don't want to die." You know, she has asthma really, really bad. So yeah. And so I said, Mommy, no, Mommy's not going to let you, well, I didn't say Mommy's not going to let you die. I said, Mommy will move heaven and earth to make sure that never happened to you. You know, like we are going to do everything in our power to make sure you feel better. And so she started crying and I just cried with her.
That's
okay.
So beautiful.
Sorry.
No, that's so beautiful. And that's why, okay, see y'all, that's why I love Free Thinkers, because like, we really hear each other out, listen, test theories, try things, see if it works, see if it doesn't work. It may not always go the way we desire, but like we're learning from each other and taking these things and applying them to life. And that is like such a snowball effect of like, who knows now, like that your daughter was like, wow, mommy cried with me. And like, it's okay that I'm crying. And like, who knows how soothing that may have been for her to just, y'all have that moment together. And I just think it's beautiful. That I feel like that when I hear stuff like that, it's like, that's what Free Thinkers is about. And like Q, let me give Q a shout out. So I think Q and Nikki, we were talking about how like sometimes in a relationship, like maybe somebody does something to you and then, well, me, and then and then I go and then I go rogue, and now I'm being this mean person and this, that, and the third. And you all were saying like maybe that's who you always wanted to be, and you were searching for a reason to be that. And so, like with this last, breakup situation, I was like, oh, I can go into the world acting all jaded, being like, I'm going to be this type of person who's cut off from their feelings now, and I'm not going to open up anymore, and I'm not going to this and that. And I was like, no, because that's not actually who I want to be. I want to be the person who's open. I want to be the person that loves freely. I want to be the person that is vulnerable. And so no matter what somebody else did or what happened, I am going to decide to be exactly who I want to be, because that's who I actually want to be. And I'm not going to use something as an excuse not to be the person I want to be. And so like that just like cycled in my head for like a really, really long time. And in a bunch of different scenarios, I'm always like, who do I actually want to be? Am I going to be who I want to be, or am I going to be something else?
Right. That's awesome. I'll be forgetting I say that stuff. Oh, that's good. Nikki, we have 57 minutes.
I just would like to address the fact that we have where's I'm gonna go to the images. I'm gonna put it up real quick. And we ain't even gotta take but 2 seconds to address this. We don't even have to address it if we don't really want to. But I just really think that it's really, 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 really comical. And I use comical very, very lightly, that, we have a new FEMA chief who is unaware of the fact that the United States of America goes through what is called hurricane season at a certain time of the year. Is unaware. This man is that old, and is the FEMA chief now under Lord Regime Trump.
From Virginia, New York, Minnesota. He ain't from the Southeast.
Did you go to school in America at all? Anywhere at all? Like from kindergarten to 12th grade? Anywhere did you go to school in America where you had like, geography and like, stuff that talked about the weather and, stuff that would have told you that we have a hurricane season? And so I just thought that the reason I pulled that one up was for a multitude of reasons, but primarily because it has been, I don't even know what the word is. It's been interesting. Well, I guess we'll just call it that word. It's been interesting to see the buyer's remorse. That
remorse from who? Nobody's remorseful.
From being a Trump supporter, from voting for Trump. There's a lot of buyer's remorse.
They are. Who got buyer's remorse? There's a lot.
You don't get on social media. There is a lot of social media
buyer's remorse,
conversation with a lot of buyer's remorse.
Government employees got buyer's remorse outside of that.
I'm surprised people are admitting to it.
I kind of am too. But I all I can think to myself is, you can't be serious, right? Like,
I'm talking about friends and colleagues that I know, black and white, and I keep asking them, okay, well, hey, how you feel about your president right now? And they defending them to the T. They still going, like, just from, I guess, personal experiences. I guess, I don't know. And media has propaganda attached to it. That's why I don't trust it, because you can always find someone who wants to find the defectors and highlight them. But I'm saying with the people, even that I have in my family, in my friends, in my circle, who I know are Trump supporters, they still ride or die. I'm like, oh, okay, well, I'm just checking. I'll check back in with you in a couple of weeks. That's all I say. I'm like, how you feeling about your president right now?
Because it's coming.
Some people rather be right than accurate. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
they're gonna ride not even because they're riding, because they just don't want to be wrong.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And we know that that's going to happen. We know that we know that a majority of the people that support him think like that. So they're probably going to behave that way. Like, that's just how they are. We know that. But there's a lot of interesting conversations going around social media of people who are just completely dumbfounded that he is behaving in the ways in which he is behaving and cutting things where he's cutting and, eliminating things, and the people that are being affected are actually being affected. And they're like, oh man, I didn't know it's going to go down like this. And I'm like, I have to remember that I do not subscribe to voting as an accurate measure of shit, right? Regardless of whether you're in an electoral college state or not. And let's just say that voting counted. And if you don't live in an electoral college state, your vote is not tallied. So it's just a fucking illusion, right? However, let's just say that that was accurate and that's how the voting thing worked. I don't believe that any of it's actually valid. So the fact that this person was who was chosen to do this job has nothing to do with who chose for him to do it, which is where, that programming and that automation comes into play with pitting people against each other all the time. But there are those that are so heavily in love with the system of the voting system that they're finally having some remorse for casting their vote for this horrible, disgusting person.
I have a side note that you just made me think of.
All right.
I know you're optimistic and you think we the people, we can change anything, but you just reminded me of an example why I feel like things are not going to change.
Oh, I don't think they're going to change. Go ahead.
Okay, good. But 99% of people, we the people, think that the electoral college is ridiculous. How can 99% of a people feel that something is wrong? But okay, let's say 99% of people who vote don't agree with the electoral college. But we still don't come together and say, hey, government, let's fix this. Let's make a vote count for a vote. Let my vote count.
Okay.
And how can 99% of people believe in one thing, but not have enough unity to press the government to change a certain statute?
Because people like convenience.
Because nobody, how many people do you know agree with the electoral college?
How
Everybody
many people
wants their vote to count?
If you voted in Texas and you thought your vote counted, knowing you live in an electoral state, you're a part of the problem. You really went up in there and voted like your vote was going to matter when you know.
But no, that's forget about that, Nikki. I'm saying that we're all the problem
Republicans
because
don't have a problem with the electoral college.
You said what?
Republicans do not have a problem with the electoral college. It benefits them. So it's not 99% of people have a problem with the electoral college. They don't.
You know what?
There is half of this country
right,
that their politics, the electoral college benefits their politics. And then I'm going to play devil's advocate.
And it benefits all those rural states too, because really,
I was going to say
New York, California is what holds the Democrats together.
This is me playing devil's advocate. Is Republicans or people who are very deeply rooted in that will say, we middle America, right? And we're spread out through middle America. It's not as many of us, but we take up all of these different rural places and states or whatever. And then there's this huge, massive populations in these cities and states, and they all have the same politics, and they could get together in these numbers and they can outvote us when we still feel like these other sections of the country should have a say too. So I don't agree with the electoral college, but I'm just saying, for them, the electoral college works. So it's not that everybody doesn't want the electoral college. It's just half the people, a little over half. How about that?
You're actually right about that, Ivory. Yeah. Now that I think about it, you're right. Yeah. Yeah, because it actually gives those rural areas they have much more of an impact when all those electoral, even if it's a small amount, then it goes much further than what their votes would count for.
And when you see when you see states maps, every state's map almost is the whole state is red except for city blurbs.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. You are correct. Yep.
And that number technically
right,
holds weight in the grand scheme of the whole vote.
Holds more weight. Yep.
Yep. So for those that do believe in voting as a legitimate system, to see people having actual, voters, buyer's remorse for voting for this dumb shit, as though they didn't know that this was probably, it just, I don't know. I just, when somebody sent me that today, that the FEMA chief didn't know that there was a hurricane season, I was like, you cannot be serious. How do you get that job? And you don't even know that, like, we just entered it. It just started. And apparently, like, Southern Florida and Central Florida has lost so many of their weather watching organizations, that they are not being watched for hurricane watch in Southern and Central Florida. And I'm like, well, you motherfuckers voted for him. That's your boy. Y'all was Trump. Y'all was Florida for Trump. Like, y'all wanted this dude. So, to see buyer's remorse, it's unfortunate that you have to see these things come back and slap the not in my backyard people dead in their throat, right? It's unfortunate that that's how that generally has to happen, but it's you said I'm optimistic about we the people. My optimism in we the people is because there are more of us than there are of them, and we can still control things. We just don't. And a lot of people choose not to, but we don't. As the collective, we don't. So I agree that I don't think it's going to change. It takes a lot of work for it to actually change. And most people don't want to do work. This is easy to do it this way.
I've been saying that for the last 12 years.
I know.
We're too comfortable. As long as we're comfortable, you're not gonna see the change you're looking for.
Yep, I agree.
We're 107
of our online internet connection with people as we engage with people all over the place.
Yeah, exactly.
So there's ways to use it effectively, obviously. Shout out to everybody who came last week for our in-person. That was a great conversation. We ended up having some great food last night. So shout out to, or last week. So shout out to Brent for, of course, the food. Last Tuesday is always a great spot to come and just, mingle and eat some food. And sometimes I bring desserts, but there's always good conversation happening on the last Tuesday of the month. So definitely put that on your calendar. And we've got, some topics coming up for, the next couple of weeks. Yeah. So, we always are open to more and more and more and more and more. So never is an idea bad. So I appreciate everybody for just randomly tagging me and stuff and sending me a DM with the free thinkers on it. Like, absolutely appreciate those ideas. And we would love for you to join us in said conversations. So please come to conversation. But yeah, thanks y'all for being here tonight, man. It's the half of 2025 already. So, we've been consistent. Y'all been showing up. We've been here doing this thing again, another 6 fucking months worth of Tuesdays. So appreciate y'all for being here and, just continue to support free thinkers.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night, y'all.